had the market rallying, some positive price movements, especially around the bank sector, that really helping to keep the mood upbeat. The question is, can we sustain this upward trajectory?
Well, that has always been a concern. Okay, the issue is the banking sector, no doubt, accounts for about 60% of the market. So whatever happens there would have far-reaching effects on the entire board as a whole. But that said, we have to keep in mind too that the banking sector is at a significant point in its stage in its evolution in the country. First of all, the AMCON and CBN have literally drawn a line on the recapitalization process, and to a large extent we could say we've come to the end of that turbulent phase. Now, added to that, in the last week or two, banks have released credible results of Q3 performance, a far cry from what happened last year when most banks were grappling with losses. So if you put that all in perspective, it's easy to see a trend. The banking sector is beginning to lead again in rebuilding investor confidence in the equities market.
Given given the strong dominance that they have, of course, still in terms of their weighting and capitalization, do you think that we can make any significant gains above this 20,000 point level that we seem to be hovering at by year end?
Well, quite frankly, I do not see, I see the trend sustained, but a significant leap to that level by the year end would be a bit overly optimistic. Keep in mind also there are headwinds that the equity market has to face. You have a situation where the money market, the interest rates are on the high. We have issues concerning the overall, the market itself, I mean, concerning things like yield profit taking. I mean, the market took a beat in the last few years. So naturally, investors after a while will want to cut their losses at some point. We also have to keep in mind too that we're nearing year end. Traditionally, there's a lot of profit taking from the market ahead of the Yuletide season. So while I see this as a positive sign in terms of recovery of the market led by the banking sector, it'd be overly optimistic to see it rise to those highs by the end of the year. I think it'd be overly optimistic to expect that.
We talk about the importance that the banking sector still has, but of course of significant importance to the Nigerian economy structurally, of an equal importance, if not more importance, is the oil and gas sector, still underrepresented on the exchange, but the economic management team really focusing on development of the oil and gas sector, infrastructure development, encouraging investment. Of course, it's a new team recently put together by the president. What type of progress do you see has been made so far?
Yeah, coming to that, the critical thing there is the team has made profound statements. They are clearly, the underlying theme is fixing infrastructure, investing and creating jobs. And specifically to the oil and gas sector, it will be important to backtrack a bit and try to follow the trend of the thinking. First of all, what we might use as a bellwether of the political will and seriousness is the way the issue of the sovereign wealth fund is being tackled. Keep in mind also that the head of the team made it clear that one of the major issues in the oil and gas sector structurally that will be tackled will be the issue of the petroleum subsidy. And government has come out head-on to deal with the issue. It's not to say it's not been dealt with in the past, it's not to say it's not come up in the past, but you can see a more like firmer methodological approach to it, you know, engaging stakeholders with arguments and some elements of political strong will. Take, for example, the Sovereign Wealth Fund, and which actually is a carryover the excess crude accounts of the year of the 2003-2007 years. That could give us an indication of how government is going to handle the issue of the oil and gas investments in the oil and gas sector. Clearly, the president and the executive team have made a statement that this Sovereign Wealth Fund will come to stay, has come to stay rather. And despite agitations to the contrary from the governors and all some other stakeholders, the fund has taken off literally. With
and you've got the likes of large financial players like Goldman Sachs all coming in, hoping to manage this fund for government. They see the potential and, of course, the profits that they can make from getting involved there.
Exactly. And with that in mind, it's clear that it's something that the government will achieve. Now, my thinking is, if that gets out of the way, you more or less see it, the same approach play out in the handling of the petroleum subsidy issue in the first quarter of next year. Now, with that burgeoning problem, so to say, dealt with, the government has already said ahead of that, there will be joint investment, PPPs more like, investments in the private refineries thereafter. So you can see some trend in terms of more like a firm approach to the issue. And with this kind of structural realignment within the overall management of that sector, you're right. The impact on the local bourse will be distinct, because that's if you backtrack over the last 2 days, next to the banking sector has been the petroleum, oil and gas sector, more so to speak. It's hovered between second and third position, particularly in the last 2 days, with the rally of the last 2 days particularly. So as we speak, if I see a situation where government gets done with the sovereign wealth fund, gets it on track, moves on to deal with the petroleum subsidy issue, and then generally gets the overall investment climate in that sector to be upbeat to what it wants it to be, and with evidence of fiscal discipline, which is part of the economic management team's mandate, I foresee a situation where we will have that sector
really
back
coming
to
to the
speed,
fore.
up to speed, more like.
Yeah, and really coming to the fore
yeah.
In terms of the equity market. Thank you very much for your insights and time, William. William Uko is the strategy officer at Diamond Bank.